And good Tuesday night to you. Welcome to the fourth edition of the North Florida Blitz. We take you from Marion County to Jacksonville to Tallahassee to Pensacola to the Panhandle as we take a look at Week 7 in high school football in North Florida. Look ahead to Week 8. Hello in the Central Time Zone tonight, watching us here as we bring you this edition tonight of the North Florida Blitz, along with Joshua Wilson, the owner and publisher of FloridaHSFootball.com. I am Marty Pallman. Josh, another big week in high school football. A lot to talk about North Florida.
Oh, yeah.
We have a pick 6. It could have been a pick 12 this week. We had a lot of games.
Could have been a pick 20 the way we were going.
There are a lot of good games this week in North Florida. Of course, it covers the large area, Ocala to Gainesville, up to Jacksonville, over to Tallahassee and Pensacola, all the way to the Panhandle. And
points in between, Marty.
Points in between. And speaking of Ocala, our guest tonight will be from the Ocala Star-Banner, Allen Pettigrew. He'll join us, the high school sports writer there for the Star-Banner, and we will talk about high school football there in Marion County. But before we get to that, before we get to the interview and our pick 6, we start with their breaking news. The Blitz Lines.
All right. Let's start with this one, Marty, and everything that we have here on this one. And my thought is this. My big thing is this one. How legit is Panhandle?
Yeah, how legit. I had a chance to see them. They're pretty legit. I mean, I don't know how good Bishop Kenny's pretty good. They haven't been beaten this badly in a while, but I mean, Panhandle the game was 41-13 at halftime. Panhandle just came out. Ryan Case ran the ball. Their quarterback threw the ball. They had a kick return for a touchdown. They had a couple of one-play bombs for touchdowns. They did pretty much anything they wanted to. Now, they've already their only loss this year was the Bartram Trail Week 1 by 3. That was a late field goal, and they've beat Florida High on the road since then. And they have some tough ones coming up. They still have Creekside on the schedule, as well as Nice. So you got some games coming up against St. Johns County teams. But yeah, I think Panhandle is pretty legit, and they are right now second in their region.
Only to Buchholz.
Only to Buchholz, I know.
5-1 in there. Buchholz is 6-0. So I mean,
we know how good Buchholz is, and Buchholz rolled again last week over Gainesville. Their city rival 35-7. This week they'll head to Oakleaf, and Oakleaf needs that win. They are not in the postseason hunt right now, the Oakleaf Knights. But yeah, that was Panhandle. They look pretty good, and of course that Region 1 in Class 4S is pretty loaded. You got Bartram Trail, Creekside.
No, absolutely.
And then Tallahassee Leon, it just got its first loss of the season.
Yeah, I mean, talk about that one for a moment. Tallahassee Lincoln hands Leon their first loss. Shut them out totally. I mean,
yeah, that was going to be a tough one, I think, for Leon. But were they 5-0 to start?
They were 5-0. But I think to be honest with you, Marty, this is what I'll be honest. This is the big difference between Lincoln and Leon. Their schedules. The schedules are the biggest difference. If I'm looking at this and I calculate out a strength of schedule, I've got it right here, sitting here, strength of schedule that I'm gonna pull up here. I have calculated it out for what's current in season with strength of schedule, and what's really interesting. Actually, I'll think we'll continue on the thing, but let me get it pulled up here because it's really interesting what is there with this because honestly, at the end of the day, when you look at the team's strengths, that's critical, and that's in the power rankings. Leon's still in the playoff hunt by all means. It's just them being able to, who they played up to this point so far. Has Leon played up to so far? I mean, their best win is against Mosley, who's struggling.
Right, that's true. They haven't really had the best schedule, but
no. Right
now they're in pretty good shape, so we'll see if they can win out as well.
Okay, so using the method of the BCS strength of schedule formula, by the way, the old everybody complained about that. It seems like it's the BCS and stuff, yeah. but based upon that, Lincoln's current winning percent, current strength of schedule is .595. What is Leon's? Well, I'm about to tell you here in a moment here on those numbers here. And Leon's number 0.464. That tells you everything that you need to know why Leon lost that game to Lincoln.
Well, and that means they're probably going to have to win some games down the stretch because right behind them, Creekside and Navarre and Tecoy Creek and Flagler Palm Coast will try to see if they can move up. So, yeah, they do need to win some games down the stretch because of that schedule. So we'll see. But Leon off to a really good start, 5-1 now. Lincoln, Jonathan Ferris, in fact, talking about Lincoln, says big district game for Lincoln. On Friday, they play Rickards, so another Tallahassee city matchup.
And there's a couple more comments from Jonathan Ferris. We're not going to pull them up just yet. We're not going to talk about them just yet because once we get to the topic, we'll talk about it here in a moment.
I do want to talk about this topic.
Actually. You really want to go to that topic?
That was the next thing I was going to talk about. Actually, how about the Middleburg Broncos? Josh likes that.
Well, they came with one of the biggest comeback victories last week. I was stunned.
Yeah, they went to Clay, and that's the oldest rivalry in Clay County. Clay led 33-7. Middleburg comes back, wins 35-33. Clay had a field goal to win at the end, couldn't get the snap down, or the hold down, and how about that? So the Broncos now 3-3 are right in the thick of the playoff picture, and now they host Columbia this week. Columbia's coming in winning 2 in a row. They beat Bowles last week, but this is probably for the district title. Maybe the biggest game at it's
down Garber Automall Stadium at Allen Powers Field. I don't
like the corporate sponsor, but okay, I would say Allen Powers Field. But all right, go ahead.
Yeah, it is. But you're right on, Marty.
Yeah, but I mean, what a win for Middleburg. That was a big one. They won 3 in a row. So you're right. They are on the verge of doing something big here if they can win this week.
I will tell you something. The last time anybody, and then this is I know this right from memory. The last time you can find Middleburg ever winning a district championship, 1990, with a quarterback named Allen Hall, who was supposed to go to Miami but never made it there.
No, and I was at the game that day. They beat Orange Park at Orange Park to win the district title. It was a classic. Orange Park had a quarterback named Jeff McCrone who went to FSU and never played there either. Ended up playing at other places. But, yeah, that was a classic. I mean, Middleburg scored with about a minute to go to win. The place was, I remember the standing room only there. Hoyt B. Cotney, the old Hoyt B. Cotney, because they have a new stadium there now in Orange Park. But, yeah, that was Middleburg's last district title. I was there for that game. I won't be there Friday night, unfortunately. Josh, maybe you should be there. Or you should got to go check that out on Friday night.
Yeah, and we got a comment here. It says, I think about Middleburg doesn't play anyone. Well, I beg to disagree with you, considering that Middleburg has played Hawthorne, who is a defending state champ, who has been to the state championship game 3 years in a row in Class 1R. Okay, that's no tough.
A really good little school.
That's not an easy cakewalk there for playing Hawthorne. Bradford, who was in the state semifinals last year, that was no easy task. And by the way, Middleburg is only one of 2 teams that has put points up against the Bradford defense this year. So we got to talk about that one for a minute. Let's think about these things for a second before we really.
I think he's trying maybe to get your goat there, but yeah, it's like you say, they played the little schools. Hawthorne and Bradford are pretty good little schools. You're right; those are really good teams. But Columbia, coming in. I mean, Columbia's not coming in really. I mean, again, they went 2 in a row, but they have played you could say they played a tougher slate. They had Buchholz, they had Trinity Christian on there as well. They played DeLand. Then they beat Bowles, last week. But I don't know. I mean, I don't put it past Middleburg. Jonathan Ferris asks, any chance Middleburg upsets Columbia Friday night? I'm not sure if it's a huge upset if Middleburg wins. I mean, it's a little bit of an upset probably.
Well, here's the thing: Middleburg's never beaten Columbia, so it would it would go down in the record books for the first time that happened. So
Columbia's first win was against Orange Park, who isn't really that good, but this year, but they did beat Bowles. So yeah, that's going to be fun at Middleburg on Friday night for the district title. So we also have. As well, we have the
Riverside over Trinity Christian.
Wow, Riverside, man. They lost a heartbreaker to Rains the week before at the last play of the game. They go to Trinity, win this game 14-12 in a slugfest. And, of course, we talked about the Riverside Generals. They clinched their district title 3 weeks ago. I mean, they've been in the playoffs for a while. That's a big win. Trinity continues to go up and down, and they better get it going because they play University Christian this week and then Providence still down the road. If they don't win those games, I think they're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be a tough situation.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you there, Marty, on that one. A tough situation indeed. And of course, you've had some Marion County teams sitting there. They had Dunellen played 2 games in the last 4 days, and then of course having to make up game.
Really bad Monday.
Yeah, last night. Yeah, and but that's a segue into what we'll be talking to Allen Pettigrew Jr. from the Ocala Star-Banner here in a couple minutes here. But Panhandle, real quick, Niceville edged out Pine Forest. Pine Forest, their 3rd straight loss. Niceville 6-1, sitting there in the mix of that district.
They're 3rd. They're right there. Niceville is always, kind of in the middle of that. And then this week, the big game is Choctaw and Escambia, right? We're going to have that the pick 6 coming up. Yes. But yeah, Niceville gets that win, goes to 6-1. And I guess, like I said, we've talked a little bit about it. Columbia over Bowles, and Bowles is now 3-4. They dropped to 5th or 6th in their region this
Yeah, they
week.
slid down. They're in a situation that's very interesting. And of course,
that game, Bishop Kenny plays Episcopal this week. Bowles plays Wilson. Most likely the Bishop Kenny Bowles game in 2 weeks is going to be for the district title there. So on a Thursday night. But anyway, a lot going on. And you mentioned in Marion County too, Trinity Catholic, despite losing another game at 1-5, they've moved into the top 4 in their region. A state runner-up from a year ago. And the Vanguard Knights are still number 1. So we'll have a lot to talk about in Marion County when we get there as well. And rough year for North Marion too. We got to ask Allen about that. But
yes,
for now, let's take our 1-minute break, our water break, as we like to call it, our hydration break.
Yes.
And we'll come back and talk to Allen Pettigrew of the Ocala Star-Banner after this. You're watching the North Florida Blitz.
All right, welcome back here on the North Florida Blitz here as we're joined by Allen Pettigrew Jr. of the Ocala Star-Banner. And Allen, appreciate you taking some time. I know you have had a very crazy, busy schedule here. I know you had a volleyball game tonight, but appreciate you being able to take some time here. And you've only been in Marion County for how long now? It's not been that long since you've been there.
It was officially a year in August.
Wow.
Wow, yeah. Hey, good to meet you. Mike Ryder and I usually do games down there. I haven't been to Ocala in a little while, but it was good to meet you tonight, Allen, and welcome to the show. Appreciate it.
Same here. Really appreciate you guys. Josh, Marty, really glad to be on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And let's kind of get into it here about Marion County because, at times Marion County has, boasted several, top quality teams and everything. And, we could talk, we got Vanguard, which we'll get to in a moment here. But, I think a couple of the surprises, I think people are wondering, Trinity Catholic sitting there only with 1 win on the season. I know they played a tough schedule, but, a lot of that schedule that they've got this year is almost a lot of the same schedule they had from last year. So it's okay, what's going on there with the Celtics? And I know they have talent, so it's not, we're trying to figure out, okay, what's going on there? And then, then North Marion's on that slide, North Marion, at one point was, a team that everybody wanted to not play. And now it's here they are. So what's going on this year? What's in the water down there in Ocala and Marion County?
Change, man. Change is in the water. We know that Trinity Catholic lost a lot of seniors last year, and those seniors were really the heart and soul of this team. They were the battery pack for these guys. Now, there's a ton of talent on the Celtics roster. There's a ton. And they're playing really talented teams every single week. Teams that are going to be competing for state championships or just came off a state championship victory. And it's literally just the little things. Every single time I watch Trinity Catholic, it's 1, 2, 3 plays where they just kind of take the foot off the gas for a little bit. And that's the difference for the game. Now, every time I've watched them, they've gotten closer to that win, but it's still escaping them. And I think it's just a youth thing. Everybody has several years of varsity experience pretty much, but it's just that closing factor where you need that one person that's going to get everybody together and be like, no, it's game time. And I don't know if that person has emerged yet. And I think with all that talent there, they're looking at each other whose night is it? Whose night is it? Mm-hmm. Instead of somebody just being it's my night every night. And you had that with some of those seniors last year, like Donington LaCorn. When he told everybody to get together, everybody got together. Once they find that person, I think they'll have to find it soon. They'll have to find it very soon. Or We'll see. We'll see. I'll leave it at that. Now,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Vanguard now, that's a special group. That's a special group. They started off the year giving Miami Central a run. I know it was preseason, but we're talking about a team that was nationally ranked, and Vanguard was like, we're going to keep it competitive the entire time. To me, that's a really good sign. If they had a year where it was like, no, this is the year, it's this one. They got talent, Division I talent at that, in every single class. So it's like we got backups with Division I offers, like dudes that might touch the field 1 or 2 series a game, and they're already being recruited at a high level. So it's really anybody's night. And when you got to do like Fred Gaskins, who's going to make plays on both sides of the field, it's really tough to not see them going as far as they want to go. They just have to be locked in.
Yeah, what's it going to take for Vanguard's been close before. They seem like they either run into Jones or to Lake Wales. I mean, and Lake Wales is in that region. I mean, what's it going to take for Vanguard to get kind of over? It's a little bit over the hump, really, and maybe make it to the state title game in Tallahassee. Because, again, they've been close probably 4 or 5 times.
For me, it's the offensive end. If they can put points on the board, they're going to be a problem. Like, if from my statistics, if they get 28 points, that's an automatic win because they're not letting anybody else score more than that. I think Buchtels is the only other team that's crossed that line for them. So when you go up against them, unless you have like a bona fide offensive plan, you're in trouble. You're not going to be able to pass that ball around with that team. And then they even got some young linemen and linebackers that really get after them to stop the run game. So for me, as long as they score points, that's the ball game.
Right. So the other thing too, really we didn't talk about this. Forest is a team that's it seems to be gaining a little bit. They're not in the top 8 right now, but they're getting closer. And, we're used to having North Marion be a contender. It is just hard to see North Marion getting shut out 42-0 by Eastside. Denellen beats them 47-0. I mean, this is just an abnormal year in North Marion. I know they lost a lot of players, a lot to the transfer portals, we call it, but it's just strange to see that with North Marion.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what the issue is. You lose your starting quarterback, and then you lose so many people on the defensive end. And then on top of that, your running back goes over to Vanguard. So it's a lot of getting new guys up to speed. And that's been like their biggest challenge. They have a first-year starter at quarterback. The wide receiving core maybe has, coming into the season, had 10 games of experience between all of them. And you got to remember how senior-laden the team was last year. And the other half of the roster were all juniors, and those juniors left. So the cupboard's a little, I wouldn't even say bare, because when you go watch those guys practice, when you go watch those guys actually line up, they're competing every single time. It's another team where it's just the little things that once they iron it out, and they just need more experience. They just need more experience. And that's really the separator. Because if you watch that game against Vanguard last Friday, you would not think they got blown out. Like, everybody left that game feeling like, wow, they competed their tails off. They just didn't produce. And it's the difference between needing 8 yards and only getting 6 yards. Like, that is it at this point. Once they figure out that last little 2, they got the talent there, man. They have the talent.
No, absolutely. And Allen, it wouldn't behove us to take the little trip over to Southwest Marion County and talk about Denellen. I mean, Tommy Sutton is in his second year there, and I want to say, Denellen, I think, if in my view, it looks like they may have actually improved a little bit more since they went from last year. Is that the case here?
They have, man. They have. This is kind of the opposite of Vanguard. I mean, not Vanguard, but North Marion, everybody stayed, everybody matured. Like you're seeing so many different guys step out. We all know Chris Henry is that guy, the West Virginia commit, but it's everybody else around him that's really stepping up. Dylan Donahue has been a special dude on both ends of both sides of the ball. Whether you got him at linebacker or running back, you want to feel that kid every time he touches the ball. You got X factors like Sean Martin, Amari Francois, just guys who know how to get it done. In every single game, Dylan Curry, who looks like a grown man outside of his pads, is just getting better and better every single time. Sutton has those kids locked in, and all they want to do is compete and win. There's no flash, there's no flair. When you interview kids, like I interviewed Dylan, he had a game where he had like 3 touchdowns. Really good way to start the season. And all he could do was talk about his linemen. He was like, I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. And I'm like, okay, these kids have completely bought in. There's no ego. All they want to do is win, and it's team first over there.
Oh.
Yeah, it's sometimes I have to remember that Denellen's in Marion County. It seems like they're really quietly always put together a good season over there at Denellen. You don't always pay attention to them, but they're always winning.
No,
for sure.
No, absolutely. No, and all of that, with everything that the thing is in the Marion County, what would be the biggest surprise out of everything that's happened in Marion County so far through 7 weeks? What would be the biggest surprise in your mind is sitting there that you did not expect to happen?
I have to say the emergence of Israel Evans out of Forest High School. That kid at one point had 3 weeks back-to-back with 100-yard games, 100-yard receiving games. And overall, I think he has 5 on the season. It's a kid out of Dallas. Dallas was my second home before I came over here.
Oh, wow.
We all know that's supposed to be the big football state. And he's showing that talent translates, man. He's really fast. And he has a crazy catch radius. Once he gets the ball, he's gone. And there's usually 1 or 2 defenders that are just lagging behind him. Really impressive dude.
Oh, that's impressive there and everything and all that. Marty, you got anything else to?
Oh, appreciate it, Alan. Thanks for coming on.
No, we appreciate you coming on and talking Marion County football. We'll hopefully get to have you back. Sometime it's a playoff postseason and everything, and you can catch Alan's work there on the Ocala.com on the Star-Banner website and everything. And appreciate it, Alan.
All right, see you guys soon.
Thank you. All right, that was Allen Pettigrew Jr. joining us from the Ocala Star-Banner here on the North Florida Blitz. And Marty,
good interview, good dude.
Yeah, good dude. And we thinking definitely very interesting times down there in Marion County right now. But
yeah, I'm glad he brought up Forest because I think that's a team that's kind of on the rise. They're always in a little bit in the middle. Denellen. It's funny in that county usually it's Denellen, North Marion, and Vanguard and Trinity all are at the top. This year, North Marion's down, Trinity's a little down, but Vanguard and Denellen are still there. We'll see how Vanguard, Coach Farmer, we know him well, if he can get that team to Tallahassee and maybe a state title for the Knights. But we appreciate Alan talking Marion County football. We will now move on to the Pick Six. And guess what game we're starting with first? Let me guess.
We are starting
Let me guess which game we're starting with first. I'm going to say Columbia Middleburg.
Yes, we are.
Oh, yeah. What do you know? I should have known. Go ahead, Josh. I'll let you pick this first.
You sure about that?
Graduate of Middleburg. Go ahead, yeah.
Giving me the honors here. How about that? All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's a reason why this game's on the thing. Most years, this game would not even be a thought. But last year, I gotta pull this up because I believe last year it was only a 14-point game between the Broncos and the Tigers, and the Tigers were a much better team last year when they came into this game than they were against Middleburg at this time last year. And I'm going to pull it up here real quick. I'm trying to pull it up real quick. I want to remember the score. I don't remember the score off the top of my head. And I'll think, of course, yep, it was. 28-14 was your final score on that one last year. I know Columbia's played a very much tougher schedule, but by a little bit. I'm going to go tell you the strength of schedule here. This is what the strength of schedule based upon that.
I don't have time to pick the other 5 games.
Oh, we got a little extra time here, Marty.
All right, the last show. We can talk all night if we want to.
All right, Columbia's current strength of schedule 0.596, Middleburg 0.602. Tell me who's played a tougher schedule so far right this second.
That says Middleburg does, huh?
Yes.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. So
but it's not very much. I will tell you that it's not by much.
I'm gonna guess you're taking Middleburg.
Oh, I'm going to go on the gamble here and take Middleburg.
You've done this before. It's kind of come back to haunt you. Was it St. Augustine? Maybe you picked. Yeah, you picked Middleburg to beat St. Augustine. I think once that didn't work. But hey, this is gonna be a little different.
I think this is
not gonna be a blowout. I agree. But I'm gonna go with Columbia. I'm not picking against them at this point. Sorry.
Okay.
Even on the road, I think Columbia will get the win here and maybe clinch another district title. So,
all right,
Swanee. This is gonna be a good one. Suwanee, as our former TV20 sports director Kevin Wells called them here in Gainesville. Suwanee at Madison County. This seems like it should be a big rivalry game. I don't think they play all the time, but I mean, Live Oak and Madison are what, 20 minutes away? I mean, it's not that far.
Yeah, and Swanee won this last year, by the way.
They did play. Well, I don't know. Yeah, right. That's true, but
Madison's much improved under Price Harris' second year.
Exactly. And Madison's 3-1. Swanee comes in undefeated. I mean, it's going to be a tough one for Madison here. I agree. But they're at home. They're at Boot Hill. Has Swanee really been challenged at this point? That's my question. You know what? I'm going to go with Madison County. I mean, I'm going to go on a limb a little bit here. Okay. Well,
I'm with you on this because it's a challenge, and of course, Swanee still has Ocala waiting in the wings. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. They got a couple tough ones coming up still. All right, so that leaves us with our next game.
And
we go to the Panhandle now,
and we got some of the Waltons showing up here.
Walton Mountain, Grandpa Walton, not South Walton, but Walton against Pensacola Catholic. Well, go ahead.
The Pensacola Catholic Crusaders, their only losses to Prince Avenue Christian out of Georgia. They came a couple weeks ago. And Walton has just been on a roll here. They've had a couple overtime games, but they rolled Mariana last week. They got a really talented quarterback out there. And I actually got his name sitting here right here. And it's his name is Wells Bettenhausen.
Ooh, I like that name.
His stats line last week, 21 to 26, 406, three passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. That's for Walton.
Walton, wow. Yeah, they're having a really good year.
And Walton's still undefeated. And this was a Pensacola Catholic. I take Pensacola Catholic, who won the district last year, by the way. But Walton has been on a roll, and I'm going the Walton Braves.
Give me John Boy Walton. I'll take Walton. Well, you're right. 6-0. They're rolling. I love. And by the way,
yes, indeed.
What was his name again? Bettenhausen. What was the first
Wells
name? Wells.
Bettenhausen.
I like that name. That's a great name for a quarterback. So I'll take Walton at home. I agree.
All right. Up next, I love this one too. And Escambia at Choctaw, 2 teams that are in the top 4 of their region and 3S Region 1. And this one's at Choctaw. This one is not at Emmett Smith Field in Pensacola. This is at Choctaw. This is in Fort Walton Beach.
Number 3 and number 4 in Region 1, behind St. Augustine and Lincoln.
And Choctaw already has dealt with Nemesis Pine Forest, so they don't have to worry about them right now. So they don't have to worry about them. I like this. This is at home. This is a great matchup. I'm going with the Fighting Frank Beasleys.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be classic. 5-1, 4-2. But, I'm going to go with home field as well. I'll take the Choctaw Indians.
All right. This one is a loaded hot potato here for you.
Yeah, 2 teams that usually have kind of been struggling a bit this year. University Christian and Trinity Christian in Jacksonville. Good private school matchup. Last year, UC knocked Trinity out in the region final before losing to Clearwater Central Catholic in the state semis. Trinity won the regular season game. The university's already lost to Providence. Trinity still has Providence coming up in their district there in 1M. And it's hard for me to tell a big difference in this game, honestly. Trinity lost at home to Riverside last week. They've lost to Bowles. University, I don't know. This is a toss-up to me. You know what? I'm going to go with Trinity Christian at home here.
I'm with you on this one just because it's at home. If this was at University Christian, I'd take University Christian. But
UC won there last year in the playoffs, so I mean, yeah.
But this game could go either way, people. So
that's
the thing. So, and this last one is always a dandy every year about this time, depending give it a couple weeks or so in between the way the scheduling works. But got to enjoy this game 2 years ago at Bartram Trail at Bear Stadium.
That's right. Yeah.
It definitely was
a field goal at the last.
Oh yeah,
last second. Or?
Oh yeah, that was a heck of a game there, and I mean. It was the second to last season for Darryl Sutherland there during that year, and this is always one of those games. But Bartram Trail coming off a loss to IMG Academy National, I mean, they're still sitting there high in the rankings in the playoff rankings because of
their schedule is crazy. They played Mainland already. Yeah, they've played a lot of good teams.
Creekside's played a good schedule so far.
They beat Mandarin.
Yeah,
they lost to Buholtz. But yeah, they've had some big wins down the stretch. It is. I'm going to go with Bartram at home here. I think Bartram, and you're right, Creekside's really playing well too. They're both 3-3, which is odd, but again, the schedules have really been tough. But I'll take Bartram to win this game at home.
You know what? What does part of me say that Creekside, who was off last week, is rested?
That's true.
That was a gritty game for Bartram Trail against IMG. And you know what?
Bartram lost to St. Augustine, too. That's right.
Well, guess what? I am going with Creekside pulling off the big win on the road, only if it's a few miles down the road. Okay. Sorry. The game is at UC. Someone told me it was at Trinity Christian.
I was wondering about that.
So, you know what? We may have to change that pick here real quick. Or you know what? I'm sticking with TC, Jack.
I'll just take Trinity.
I'm taking Stitch. So thanks, but...
Sorry, I didn't realize that either. It says, Jonathan Ferris said Lincoln upset a 14-0 Armwood team.
Yes, he's talking about anything can happen.
To win the 4A state championship, anything can happen. That's true in high school football. That Armwood team was, I think, nationally ranked as well. Yeah, the game is at University Christian. Thank you, J.C. Denton, for that. And I was kind of wondering about that. I didn't look it up, but we said it was at Trinity, but our apologies there. So, well, that's it. Our pick 6 for the week, and that is it for our edition tonight of the North Florida Blitz. We appreciate you watching. I want to thank Allen Pettigrew, Jr. of the Ocala Star-Banner for joining us tonight in the interview segment. We'll see how we did on the picks next week. We'll take you into week 8 next week. Actually, we'll take you into week 9 next week. Look back at week 8. Enjoy the high school football in North Florida this week. For Joshua Wilson of FloridaHSFootball.com, I'm Marty Pallman saying so long, good night, and enjoy your week of high school football. Talk to you next Tuesday.